Well, hey everybody, I'm the Crockett Cooner, and this is the Crockett Coon Hound Show, and you guys have made it to Fireside Chats. I believe it's August the 24th, 2024, while I'm making this video. And today, guys, I've got out my cup of coffee, and I'm out here, and we're going to talk about outside water structures. Now, for those of you that follow us on different platforms than just here on YouTube, you do know that I've made a few posts in the last few days about some outside water structures, but I kind of wanted to go into that because I have a lot of folks that follow me that are homesteaders, and it might be that you're kind of new to some of those practices and things. You know, you've bought a farm. I've also got other folks, that are in very urban types of settings and things in cities, and they get away out into the country and wilderness and things when they can. But outside water structures, guys. Now I'm going to start off kind of easy, all right? And that could be something as simple as a small fountain there on the back patio, or it could be a water structure in your yard that's almost installed like a swimming pool. Now, why is this important? Well, for someone in an urban setting, now you guys know that there's a lot of fast pace, hustle and bustle and things. And many times it's just as easy as it's a good way for you to relax. You know, in 2024, we need a lot of folks that they need to be just kind of kings of leisure, I believe, around their homes. They need to be able to relax when they get done with all this. And a water structure is perfect for that. Now, guys, you know, if you've ever lived in an area where there's traffic, where there's this, there's that, there's the neighbors are outside doing something, you know, a nice waterfall sound will blanket and remove tons of that. Not to mention that if you do entertain, maybe people come over, maybe you're going to try out one of the pizza ovens, or maybe you're going to just grill. I don't know. You know, everybody's come over to watch the game, something like that. You know, a water feature is always something that kind of holds people's attentions. Now, you know, like I said, that might be a small type of fountain there on the back patio. A lot of folks make those out of watering troughs and things. They get into the natural filter. So just to kind of give you a quick little rundown, basically you have a watering trough, and then on top of it maybe a smaller, like #2 type of wash tub. I believe on different shows y'all have seen one that I have around the house here. They will install a pump, bring the water from the bottom container to the top, run it through a lot of media, a lot of plant life and things, the roots of the plants, for filtration, and many times make small, like little koi ponds there, just a couple of kois and things, because, you know, fish are in fact relaxing. They're kind of a conversation piece. They're a lot of fun to mess with and take care of if you enjoy things like that. But, you know, as we know, guys, you got to remember back to third grade science when you start doing filtration like that. You know, plants need animals and animals need plants, basically. So it's all working in a cycle. But then moving forward a little bit, how about some of the folks that follow me that you guys are, you know, they're at the edge of town. I wouldn't really call it homesteading, but you've got some property, you know, acre or two. You know, things such as ponds or small lakes are always beneficial. Now, you know, not to mention they will in fact help the environment, and also for the folks that are in very urban, small backyard settings. You know, when you have something like an outside water structure, be that a small little pond or a fountain or something, there's going to be other wildlife that shows up, guys. If you enjoy those types of things, there's going to be frogs if you, like I said, live there at the edge of town, or maybe some of the bigger subdivisions and things where you guys still see a lot of wildlife. You know, there's a few gentlemen here that hunt and fish and things on YouTube, and they do it all in suburban settings. They do. It's very interesting. Go check those guys out. They're not hard to find. But, wildlife will come in. It doesn't matter to them if it's a man made structure that they're drinking water out of or not, as long as they just get a drink of water. So that's very interesting. Many times an outside water feature will bring nature to your home. Birds, frogs, raccoons. That's been a thing. I knew a gentleman one time that did have an outside small fountain type of pond, had goldfish, and who would have known raccoons do in fact eat goldfish. So, but moving on to the folks that are homesteading. Now, you guys, if you've gone up and you're off the grid, guys, you're trying to be very self-sustaining. I'm just going to ask you, have you guys thought about maybe installing a pond or a small lake? Possibly one, I don't know the rules in your particular area, but many times folks use natural springs to fill these ponds and lakes. It does in fact keep the ecosystem in the pond correct. It keeps it from turning over, everything on the bottom coming to the top. If you don't know about that, that's a pretty interesting thing, and that can hurt fish at times. But what's in having a pond or a lake? Well, a lot of things. Now, I would think a lot of folks that are homesteading, one thing probably on y'all's mind is environmental issues. You want it as self-sustaining and natural and pure as you can get it. And many times, folks that enjoy things like recycling, they do this. They focus on one particular area, guys, and not the whole spectrum. It's like I've said, I'm going to mention it a few times in this video. It's third grade. Remember the arrow charts? It was like a man and then a fish and then a bear and then wind, and it works like that. And I've made a few posts here in the last few days, I believe over on Facebook, talking about that certain areas of the U.S. there were pollutants there. They were put there back in the 50s and things, and they have actually gone through a cycle in the ground, and now we have runoff that is extremely nasty. That's just how I'm going to put it. It's an environmental hazard. And things like small lakes and ponds, through the cycle of water being collected and rain and things, it picks those up. And it doesn't necessarily pollute your pond, but it helps distribute them throughout. So, a good outside water feature such as a pond or a lake's always a good idea environmentally. But what about for my folks that are homesteading, right? If you stock it with the correct type of fish, you have fresh fish. Once again, something like a lake or a pond will bring in outside wildlife. So if you are into collecting your own food as far as meat, that's an opportunity. You're there around the lake or the pond doing a little hunting. So these are all things to remember. It could be that there are a few of you folks that follow us that are somewhat homesteading in more of an urban environment. I'm just going to say, guys, something that you don't hear a lot of, I would say your preppers mention a lot of times, is that a small water structure like that, yes, it can house decorative goldfish, but it can also house minnows, things that you use to fish, or other types of fish that are in fact edible. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. That's an area that people don't seem to cover a whole lot because, let's just face it, guys, there's one thing about fish. You can almost eat them without cooking them if you were in the type of situation that dictated that. So that is going to be it for today, guys. I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit on outside water structures, and I wanted to encourage my folks that maybe have, bought a homestead, for instance, that already has a water feature. Does it need to be cleaned out around it? They do in fact have solar sprinklers and things that'll go out there in the middle, keep the water moving a bit so the surface tension is broken up. That's always a good thing. Puts a little air in there for the fish and stuff and other wildlife. And also for folks that, like I said, in an urban setting or to the most rural setting, trying to be self-sustaining. Have you guys thought about an outside water feature? It might be money well spent, but I will say definitely do your research. Nothing would be worse than spending a month or two digging a small pond and then it not hold water. Or an outside water feature that you want to look nice around your homes, and then the next thing you know, you have all types of fungus and mold and things growing in it, and it becomes a hassle. So anyways, guys, I say it all the time. Remember, stay safe on the water, stay safe in the woods, and definitely stay tuned here at the Crockett Coonhound Show. And here in a few days, I'm going to be back out on our boat project when the weather is permitting here in Middle Tennessee. And I'm going to try to shine that boat up, anticipating a little crappie fishing in cool weather. So, with that being said, you guys have a great day.